Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide, and in today's video it's here. The Boox Color Go 7 Gen 2 has arrived literally less than an hour ago. I received the package, so it's time to do the unboxing and first impressions. Before I start, this device has kindly been sent to me directly by Boox, but I don't get to keep it. I get to send it back when I'm done with it, so what I get to keep is my own integrity and my own opinions that I can bring to you guys so that you know exactly what the devices are like and what they are not like. So this video has been sponsored by, well, me, because I'm financing it completely. There's no sponsors, there's no sponsored content or anything like that. And that's made possible only by your direct support. So if you appreciate the independence that My Deep Guide has to offer, then you can go to mydeepguide.com/shop and check out the products that are available there. Purchasing of any of those products directly supports the independence of My Deep Guide. And now onwards with the video. All right, and here it is. The Go Color 7 Gen 2 has finally arrived. The focus of this video is going to be a very quick unboxing, testing out the handwriting, and just briefly checking out the color content just to see if the performance is pretty much on par with the previous generation of Go Color 7, which I fully expect it to be, or not. And then I'm going to start doing the testing process, and I'm going to bring you an in-depth review of the Go Color 7 Gen 2 afterwards, once I've unboxed it. Device, USB-C to A cable, micro SD tool card slot. Well, yeah, that's a meaningful difference to the Go Color 7. And the documentation. The pen is extra. And you get the cover, same cover that I had before with the pen loop as well. And the orientation of the cover can be only used one way, and that is pen loop is on the top, because as you can see, the indentations for the page flip buttons are here. Let's see if the Go 7 Color Gen 2 has the same issue as the Go 7, because Go 7 didn't want to actually fit on this and be held. No. Yeah, this is the same thing, and for me the problem was it's a little bit better. A little better than the Go 7. Let's try out the Go 7 that I had. Generally, I mean, if I'm able to kind of do this with the magnetically held device, so that's Go 7. Let's see if I can do the same thing with the Color 7 Gen 2. A little bit like it holds a bit better. So it means that, yeah, the magnets are a bit better on this particular unit of Go Color 7 Gen 2 than it is on the Go 7 that I had. But generally speaking, we shouldn't have this issue to begin with, and this is not going to hold your device well at all. Generally speaking, the housing and the design of the Go Color 7 Gen 2 and the Go 7 are virtually, well, not virtually, they are completely identical. There's no even difference in color, well, maybe a little bit in the color of the plastic, but for all intents and purposes, they are all exactly the same. We have the same feeling type of buttons, nothing on the top of the device. On the sides, we have the USB-C port, microphone that's disguised as a speaker, micro SD card slot, an actual speaker, power button with an LED indication, and I guess another microphone on the side here, and that's that. So since this is basically the identical type of design and identical type of housing, I'm not going to repeat myself. If you're interested in my first impressions regarding that, go check out my unboxing of the Go 7. For the same reasons, the onboarding process and the first power-up is again going to be also exactly the same, with the only difference being that maybe some color content is going to be shown on the Go 7 during that process, but that is completely irrelevant. Nope, it already says that it's at the latest firmware version. Well, okay then, so I'll just load up the documents and see what it looks like. Then we test out some writing, although I think it's going to be exactly the same as on the Go 7, but it's worth checking it out. All right, documents loaded and ready. As usual, I'm going to start with my regular test document here. Front light at the moment, it's set at 50%, But as you can see, in these really good lighting conditions, it doesn't really make a difference. Although the full intensity front light will make a bit of a difference. As you can see, it does brighten it up a bit, even in these super well lit conditions. And that just is a testament to how dark the Kaleido screens naturally are. All right, so first things first, in order to actually see and gauge the quality of the screen itself, I have to override the default settings that Boox applies, which makes everything look worse. So the first thing is to take off text enhancement fully. I'm going to go to fit the page width. In the settings here, I'm just going to add a little bit more settings for the PDF documents, such as don't show the boundary line, don't show the page breaks, and that's pretty much it as far as the settings go. And the final thing is in the refresh mode. Optimal I find usually to be a good compromise for mixed content, which is normally what you see most of the time. So we have this type of performance right now, so quite quick refresh speeds, and we're starting to see really impressive deghosting performance here, pretty much in line with the impressive deghosting performance that I've seen on the Tab XC. So that is a really good thing to see, that they are obviously implementing something smart here, because you can see that in the situations where normally a screen like this would absolutely struggle, these guys are not struggling at all. Tab XC had an excellent performance, and Go Color 7 Gen 2 has excellent performance, and that is one major difference that I'm already seeing how the Go Color 7 performed. It was performing okay, but it had expected levels or above expected levels of ghosting issues in normal kind of situations. That is out of the box, definitely not the case. I mean, look at this, from a full page, text here, onto an image, and no ghosting whatsoever. That's really impressive thing to see. All right, so that's pretty cool. Now let's zoom in so that you can see fine text and lines, how they are rendered. Now keep in mind that this is a tiny device with a document that has super tiny and super fine fonts, and you can see how they are rendered. Even in these uber difficult conditions, I can clearly differentiate, and I can actually even read from a distance where I'm sitting from, which is more than half a meter from the screen actually. That definitely is an impressive type of performance, especially for a Kaleido 3 panel, which does suffer because of the CFA layer on top that does give it the illusion of colors. It does introduce fuzziness, but on the Color 7 Gen 2, that's actually quite good. And when you look at the graphics and the diagrams here, they are also looking fairly good to my eyes. This image, when using full front light, you can see that the front light is now combating the greenness of the native Kaleido panel and kind of brightens it up quite a bit, but this is running at full intensity in well-lit conditions. Traditionally, I shouldn't be able to see any kind of difference on an e-paper device with the front light in these lighting conditions, but with the Kaleido panel you do. So that just kind of shows you how necessary that front light is on any Kaleido driven device, Color 7 Gen 2 included. But the overall performance of the image and everything else seems to be quite nice. Let's go on to a color document and see how pure color content is handled and how the ghosting performance is there. All right, here we are, and for this document I've already turned off the text enhancements, but for color images I want to turn on image smoothing so that we lose the color banding. And this is going to be the ultimate test for ghosting, because if it survives this, then it can do anything. So from this page back, that's why I'm using this test, so that I can see and expose these issues. So where Tab XC miraculously handled this type of test almost without any faults, Color 7 Gen 2 is performing really, really well, but you can clearly see the remnants of the towers here, especially when we go back here, right there in the middle, there is a little bit of ghosting that remains there. So let's see which refresh mode are we in. We're in Regal, and if we go to speed mode, what happens then? Well, then the ghosting actually becomes far, far more prominent, which is to be expected because that's what the trade-off for the speed. So for now, let's go back to Regal. And last time that I was testing the full refresh mode, I guess I was completely distracted by the nature and I forgot to turn on the full refresh mode, basically meaning the full refresh testing between normal and deep was meaningless. But here, I want to see if we do get a chance to have a difference. Nope, not really. Even when we're forcing a deep full refresh on every single page flip, you still have the same type of ghosting remnants. So no real difference between normal and deep. Nope. Which is actually quite strange because normally I would expect that not to be the case, but it behaves pretty much exactly the same. All right, so overall, the ghosting performance is okay, but not at the levels of Tab XC. The refresh speed, well, this is demanding type of content, so it's working really hard. I can see that the screen is working unusually hard. This is like from deep within, then goes back, and the refresh speed is slower than what you would normally associate with a color device, and I think that Go Color 7 was faster in refresh modes, but it was dirtier. So this one is cleaner, but again, this is why I'm using this document. So if I go back to this page, you can clearly see the remains of text here. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to go to custom here. I'm going to turn off all of the enhancements and see what the panel is actually capable of, because the defaults explode things too much. And sure, I mean, people, for some use cases, definitely contrast comes in handy. But for my kind of sensitivities and sensibilities, I think that giving it a little bit more of a dynamic range is a nice thing to see. And definitely the images do look really, really nice. Let's turn off the front light completely. And you can see that, nope, we don't have any problems here. And I notice one thing that I commented before. Previously, one of my comments was that whenever you interacted with the user interface and you would go back to the document, you would have this horrific remnants of ghosting of the user interface. And my comment was, well, clearly you need to just refresh every time you close the user interface. And guess what? There it is. And now you no longer have that. So somebody's listening, and that's a good thing to see, because overall we end up with a better product. And yeah, so I like the color content. I mean, this genuinely looks really, really pretty. I mean, this looks like a postcard right there. And the document, yeah, the device is able to handle these things in a really, really nice way. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Really, really good color content and displaying of content for a Kaleido panel. I mean, you have to have that qualifier for a Kaleido panel because it's what it is. But for what it is, it does the job well. So even though overall it doesn't have the impressive deghosting performance of the Tab XC, it is noticeably better than its predecessor. Okay, the one I was dreading. All right, so I'm not gonna do an extensive test on this because I've just did a video only about the InkSense pen and the writing experience on the Go 7. What I'm going to be testing out is to see if it's the same or the same type of feel like on the Go 7. And if it is, then you can just go ahead and watch that video, and then everything I said there applies directly in the same way on the Go Color 7 Gen 2. And more details are going to come in the in-depth review. So Let's start with the process of pairing the pen or enabling the pen first. You go by having the pen near the device. We need to have, I think that we need to have Bluetooth turned on, and you absolutely have to go all the way here and tap on stylus. Do you want to display handwriting functions? That is the vitally important part that you have to confirm, because that enables the handwriting functionality of the system on the device. So once you do that, then you get to have your notes and your pen automatically starts to work. Now I'm not going to log in, I'm just going to create a notebook. Handwritten notes 20, let's use the 24 here. That should be plenty. All right, so the moment that I've been dreading. Let's zoom in and do a test write. So the same issues apply, and it is absolutely dreadful. And I think that it's like the most bizarre combination ever. You have this small 7-inch format paired with a pen that has this enormous nib that fails to have any semblance of precision or interest to be a precise thing. And even if you use like a fine brush, which the device is capable of, it just doesn't register, and the pressure sensitivity is absolutely dreadful because all of the time you just kind of have dropouts, as you can see. And then you have like this situation where small device where you want to write in a smaller format naturally, but the device cannot do it. Well, the device can do it, but the input decision to kind of use active pen, USI 2 pen, and a pen of this type of quote-unquote quality and performance is completely bizarre because it makes it completely useless. So the thing that you have to resort to is to basically, if you want to use either Go 7 or Go Color 7 Gen 2, as a writing device, you have to forget about pressure sensitivity. That's number one. Just completely forget about pressure sensitive brushes and go for the ballpoint pen. So that is step number one, if you want to get anything remotely normal. Step number two is that even though I personally think that on this device, 0.5 millimeters width is too much, I wouldn't go under 0.5 millimeters. I personally prefer 0.3 millimeters, but if you use that, then the precision just goes completely bonkers. And the pen is simply not capable of delivering precise results, which bizarrely enough is exactly what this device requires, and unfortunately it's more than capable of delivering, were it not for this, for this thing. Is it tilt capable? Yes, it is. It can definitely tilt. Can it blend colors? Well, that's not really how Kaleido works. So it's not really your Remarkable Paper Pro. Yeah, it's stacking the colors according to brightness because it has to do that. So there's no real way of dealing with that. So if you wanted to have any kind of blending, that's kind of the brush that you can use, right? So the paintbrush is attempting to do some sort of blending, and you can actually see that it does that before it refreshes. hopefully the camera can pick it up. So now it's kind of giving you that, oh, what's going on? And then the system figures out on a refresh, oh, yeah, you want to blend that. I'll give you what I assume that an approximation would be of that. So yeah, you have an approximation of blending, but again, as previously stated, it's not exactly the same. Plus, these colors are going to be stacked on top of each other according to brightness levels. And again, this is simply how Kaleido technology is forced to work. But yeah, you have color capabilities in your notebooks. But unfortunately, these kind of large things, that's pretty much, yeah, the only thing that you can do on this thing. Well, okay, so that is the Boox Color Go 7 Gen 2. So yeah, it's basically what I expected it to be. It's Go 7 with color capability, except that what surprised me was that the ghosting performance was so significantly better than what we've seen on the Gen 1 version of the Color 7, despite it being just a purely software type of implementation, if I'm not mistaken, because I think that's what it is. So overall, I think that it's a good package. It's not personally for me. I prefer monochromatic devices, but if what you're looking for is a color e-reader and what you really need is a color e-reader, then this is something that definitely has a lot of potential, but as an e-reader. So as an e-reader, color e-reader, it can be an excellent device. We'll see what the independent testing for the in-depth review reveals how it performs. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!